Today's episode of DRL is brought to you by Hella Cocktail Company. My guests don't just come to DRL for me. They also come for the cocktails. Luckily, my friends at Hella Cocktail Company have my back. These guys make amazing mixes, from Bloody Mary to Margarita to Moscow Mule. They also make cocktail bitters, my secret ingredient, and now yours too. It's easy to feel like the best bartender in town when every bottle comes with a simple recipe on it. Hella Cocktail Company, bold flavor, real ingredients, hospitality. Mixing it up since 2011. Shop the collection on Amazon Prime or use code DRL online at hellacocktail.co for free shipping. Hello, my lovely listeners. Welcome back to another episode of DRL, where we're talking everything dating, relationships, and love. I'm your host, Tennesha Wood. Tonight, I'm here with my lovely boyfriend, Chris.
What up, y'all?
Hey, babe.
Hey.
It's been a little bit.
Yeah, you've been having all these provocative, interesting guests, so there's no need for me to just come crawling on the scene.
Well, with Corona, I needed a guest, so no, I'm kidding. I totally wanted to have you on.
Quarantine and podcast.
How are you enjoying the quarantine?
Well, I hope so far it's working, that I'm corona free. I don't know, but I'm just doing the right thing for the country.
I feel like we've been quarantining most of our relationship.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of viruses out there.
No, but I mean, like, I feel like we do spend a good chunk of the day together pre moving to Puerto Rico before you were working in the office. We spent a good chunk of our day just sort of in the house anyway, working. And so this is sort of just a return back to how it was in the beginning.
Basically, yeah.
It's sort of year 3 of the quarantine.
Basically. With a small break.
Yeah. So how you been otherwise?
I can't complain, just grinding down here in Puerto Rico, trying to make things happen.
In light of everything happening with Corona, I wanted to just do some listener questions. And my initial plan was to not talk about coronavirus at all.
Really?
Yeah, because I feel like I can't get away from coronavirus. Like, from the moment I wake up until the moment I go to sleep, anybody I interact with is talking about it. Anytime I turn on the TV, they're talking about it. Anytime I go on my news feed on any social media platform, it's being talked about. And I'm just like, I just want to get away from Corona for a second. But I can't not talk about it now because I reached out and told people to send me listener questions. And several of the listener questions are about or surrounding the topic of coronavirus. So I do have to talk about it on some level, but I'm just this sounds horrible, but I'm just really kind of sick of hearing about it. Like, I'm one of those people, like, you tell me something once, I absorb it, I understand it, and then I can move on from it once those two things happen, once it's absorbed and understood. But, like, just the constant, and I understand it's an ever-changing situation. Like,
the situation is not changing that much. It's just that the only thing that's changing is the amount of seriousness that people are putting on it. I think we all share the same channels, right? Everybody's channel 4 or whatever, or channel 7 or ABC or NBC or CNN is the same. And there's a lot of people out there that aren't listening. And when people don't listen, it puts everybody in jeopardy. So the constant attack, it might not be for you, but if somebody's getting that message that needs it. Because the person who's messing up, they might be on your parents' job or live in their neighborhood. Like, you need them to hear this message. So you're just going to have to deal with it because it's actually supposedly that serious. I mean, I don't really know. I'm not a scientist.
I think it is very serious, and I take it very seriously, but I just need other stuff in my life right now other than Corona, at least just in my house because I'm in the house.
I think it would be a disservice to your listeners to not talk about it.
Well, we are going to talk about Corona. But the thing I don't understand this week? I'm like, between last week and this week, when did everybody have time to go out and get like med school degrees and all that. Because everybody's a doctor now. Like, everybody done became a doctor. And I'm like, but when?
Well, they just graduated from numerology school because after Kobe Bryant passed, God rest his soul, everybody was just popping up with the numerology everywhere. Just screenshots and 41 and 100 minus 62 and all this weird stuff. And
now they're doctors.
now they're doctors. Everyone's just moving on. We're just not doing enough. People out here doing the most and we're not doing enough.
Wait, should I go to med school?
You just did.
Okay, here's everything you need to know about Corona.
She's going to go live with that for 2 hours.
Those people are my favorite, and also the ones who have come up with all these various conspiracy theories behind it.
It's the 5G, yo.
The 5G that's first started in China because they were the first to get 5G.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Today I saw that the 5G killed 297 birds in the Netherlands, but it was also a lie. It's still funny.
It is kind of funny. So let's take some listener questions. Let's start with a Corona-related question. Okay, this one is from Dan. I invited the woman I've been seeing over to social distance and quarantine with me. We've been talking for about a month and we are very connected and have a lot in common. Before she came over, I went to the store and stocked up on food and supplies and cleaned up. When she came over, she brought absolutely nothing except her clothes. I offered to make dinner, and as I was cooking, she didn't help at all. My question is, was she wrong or am I tripping? I think she was wrong. I don't think you ever show up to somebody's house empty-handed, particularly at that point in the relationship. Like, they're like a month in, which means they're getting to know each other. They like each other. But yeah, why would you just show up completely empty-handed? I would at least have brought like a bottle of wine or like dessert or something. Like, if somebody says, yeah, you're coming to my house and I'm making dinner, why wouldn't you bring something? I think that's like very poor etiquette. Corona or no Corona. Like, it's just poor etiquette in general.
Yeah, but I mean, it really just depends. Like, how long were they going to be quarantined? Are they going to be out for the whole 2 weeks? Because if it's the whole 2 weeks, I'm pretty sure he doesn't have groceries for the whole 2 weeks. They're going to need to go out. So maybe her thought was like, hey, I'll get the second wave or something like that. Or maybe they live in New York and they can order stuff. I don't know. He might have overreacted, in my opinion.
If you invite me over to your house and you say, hey, I'm making dinner, come over to my house, I'm probably going to ask you, like, what are you making? If you're like, oh, I'm making fish, I'm like, okay, I'll bring like a nice white wine.
Well, it seemed like he just said, let's quarantine together and I'm ready. And then he said, oh, I'll make dinner while they were there. I don't know. Here's my thing. If you're going to invite somebody, you should be fully prepared to entertain them and provide the stuff. So it's like, but like you're saying, you're like, oh, you don't show up empty-handed. But at the same time, if you were only doing it with the expectation that they were going to show up with something, then you weren't doing it right either.
Right. I'm not saying it's the expectation, but I just think it's polite and it's a good gesture to also offer or bring something when you know that somebody is putting on something.
No doubt. But if you're giving the right way,
I understand.
you won't look at it and be like, oh, this was so wrong. You'd be like, I was prepared to give that. I mean, I would have not felt any kind of way.
I would have felt like, okay, you didn't bring anything. All right, cool. But as I'm cooking, could you at least, like, I don't know, hand me a spatula or turn off the oven or like. But
that takes rhythm. You actually have to be more than a month in. You know why
I don't like anybody in the kitchen when I'm in there?
Why?
It's because I truly get irritated of people like watching me do things. I don't mind doing things alone. I don't mind people not helping me, but don't stand there and watch me and not help. Like, just go on out of my sight if you're just going to like be in the zone without actually like helping. Like, then it's just like, but why?
Maybe she was like,
plus I got a small kitchen.
Maybe she was thinking about doing the dishes, you know? I mean, it
didn't sound like she did the dishes.
But guess what? Depending on when he got his attitude about this, if he got his attitude when she walked in, if he got his attitude when he first started cooking, then that could have informed how she acted the whole way. I think
that's true.
You got to be prepared to give stuff without nothing coming back and be good with it. And if you are like quick to not be good with it, then your whole vibe in giving it could have had a lot of influence on how people reacted to it, in my opinion.
I get that. And I agree with that.
She still should have showed. I mean, her mama should have taught her to show up with something, but at the same time.
Yeah, that's bad home training. So in short, you should have been willing to give without expectation. And also, people out there just need to have good manners. If you're going to somebody's house, just as a general form of etiquette, you show up with something.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff you're going to need to bring because it might be a week, it might be 14 days. Things might go haywire, and people might actually be stuck for a long time. So she should have been bringing all kinds of supplies. Maybe that's what was in her bag. I don't know, but just showing up.
He said it was just clothes.
I mean,
she was like, I'm staying. That's all.
She must have had a plan to go back and forth to her crib because I have never seen a woman travel for something that's going to last more than a couple of days without no hair stuff.
But you're in the house. You're in the house. What would you be doing?
Man, you might have to pick up and go. Ain't nobody going to go outside looking ugly. Be like, yo, let me just, put a little flip on it real quick.
Have you ever been in a situation like that, though, where you have been doing something? Like maybe you are like in the kitchen cooking and nobody's helping and you're just like, what? I ask you this specifically because I know that you don't tend to get irritated about things like that. So I'm just wondering if you ever have.
No, but like there's just other stuff of like having roommates over time that's been different, but it's not like in a romantic setting or anything like that. I like doing that kind of stuff, so it's hard for you to use me as a judge.
Okay, well, I hope that helped, Dan. Next question. This is kind of a long one.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Hey, Tennesha, my name is Paul. I listen to your podcast all the time and would like your advice. I've been in a relationship with my girlfriend since the beginning of January. We connected really good from the start and everything has been great. On Valentine's Day, I decided to give her the passcode to my cell phone and a key to my apartment. On March 7th, my girlfriend, her best friend, and I went out to eat, and I took a picture of the best friend, but she didn't like it and asked me to delete it. I said I would delete it later. My phone was on the table and I wasn't concerned. After we finished dinner, I paid for the three of us and I wanted to get a percentage of the tip, so I asked for my phone and let her know that I'm deleting the pic that she said she didn't like. At that point, she told me she had already deleted it. I was disappointed and upset, but continued the evening happy and treated them to a paint and twist. After we returned to my apartment, I explained how much she meant to me and how upset I was. I then told her I'm changing my password and I need my keys back because she broke the trust I had. We are still together, but she is hurt by me taking the key back and feels like I overreacted. What should I do?
So wait, let me get this right. He took a picture. They're out eating.
He's out with his girl and her friend.
Got it. He took a picture of the friend.
Mm-hmm.
Probably shows it to him, and she's like, puts his phone down. She's like, actually, why don't you delete that because it's not good,
right? And
then the girlfriend playingly like takes the phone, like I'll delete it or something, or just takes the phone and then
no. So they say, oh, delete the photo. He's not even concerned with it. He's just like enjoying their company, having a good time. Then at some point, he goes to calculate the tip on his phone, and he was like, oh, by the way, I'll delete that photo for you. The girlfriend says, oh, don't worry about it. I already deleted it.
Because she opened it up.
Because she opened it and just deleted it herself because she had the passcode. So then when they get home, he's like, I was really disappointed that you did that. And by the way, I'm changing my passcode and I'm going to need my key back. And he's wondering if he overreacted or not.
Gotcha. I think so, but I'm going to let you go first.
I don't necessarily think he overreacted. I think the misstep was not setting the expectations when he gave the key and the passcode to begin with, right? So it sounds like things were going really well. And because of that, he wanted to take the next step of saying, I really like you, and this is how I'm going to show you. So as a present, he actually was like, here's my passcode and my key. Like, I'm letting you into my life. I trust you, etc. And for her, she might have taken that as an all access pass. Like, oh, this code means like I can use this phone as my own. This key means I can use this place as my own. But what he really should have said was, I'm giving you this because I want you to know that I trust you and I want to take things to the next stage or the next level, but I still do require my privacy, and this isn't like a way for you to just go onto my phone whenever you want or come into my apartment whenever you want. There is still boundaries, and I want you to respect those.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd have to know what he was upset about, like using the password real quick to delete the photo so her girlfriend could be at peace about it. And I mean, to me, that's like a non-issue.
It wasn't the reason why she unlocked the phone. It was just the fact that she did. It was just the fact that she...
don't give it.
It was just the fact that she took the liberty of doing so without even saying like, hey, do you mind if I unlock your phone? And now keep in mind, they haven't been together that long. He said they got together in like what, January?
Yeah.
And then he gave her the keys on Valentine's Day.
So they're 2 months in. Yeah, I mean, look, again, to my mind, if you're going to do something, you got to do it all the way. Like, if there's a key, like, unless you delivered some small print about how that key gets used, where does somebody know that they're out of bounds, right? Where are you going to point to and be like, it says right here in section D that, you know, you're never supposed to enter between 5 and 7 a.m. because I get scared in my sleep and I might choke you out. Like, I don't know.
So does that mean then, now that she has the key, does that mean that she then has the right to pop up whenever? If he's at work, can she then go into the apartment and just do whatever? Does she have to call before she comes over? Can she, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are the boundaries?
Nobody knew.
And that's why I'm saying he should have set them. Like, he should have been like, yeah, so I'm giving you this key, but I still need my privacy and I still have boundaries. And yeah, call me before you come over. Like, let me know if you need something in my phone. Let me know if you're going to go in my phone.
And the overreaction is actually the withdrawal of it, in my opinion, also, because this is a moment to have that conversation that you're talking about. If you know it didn't happen the first time. Now, if it happened the first time and we don't know that, that's different. But if now's the time to have that conversation, be like, hey, you know, in the future, like, I mean, yeah, like it's maybe it was because it's a privacy thing between them. He doesn't want people knowing like she has his password, and maybe it's just like a thing between them. I could get that too. Like if that's what he's mad about, like what are you flexing for your friends or something?
Right.
I don't understand why people are so like, oh, I'm giving you the password to my phone. Like, it kind of implies that prior to that, you were doing something you wasn't supposed to be doing, and now you cleaned everything up, so now you can hand over the password, or you got a second phone. Like, it just don't feel right to me to offer that as like a win.
How did I get your passcode? Did you tell me?
You know, you look over my shoulder.
No, but I didn't just guess it or like look over your shoulder. Like, you told me the passcode.
I mean, you already knew it when I told you.
I don't think I did. I really don't think I did.
Okay.
I don't think I knew it when you told me. Did I? I don't think so.
Yeah, no, you totally did. It's okay. But it's also a password that I use for multiple different things.
Right.
So,
like, at that point, early on in our relationship, would you have been mad if I just went in your phone? For whatever reason, like whether that be to delete a photo, whether that because I was like, oh, my phone was dead, so I just thought I'd check your Instagram.
It kind of really just depends on the spirit of it. Like if you're like combing through my messages, yeah, that's messed up. Because you could just say, hey, for some reason, I want to inspect your messages. I would have been like, all right, fine. But like doing it weirdly would not have been fine.
Okay. Noted. I do think
she's like, I guess I'm not going to tell him that I've been doing that.
I don't do that often. No. Yeah, I do agree with you though. I think the taking back of it was an overreaction. I think you're right. That could have been a moment of discussion about what the expectations were moving forward.
Yeah, because the last thing you want to do is just have everything like being whipsawed in a relationship where it's like this tug of war back and forth where the flag is just constantly going between the middle. And, at the end of the day, it shouldn't feel like a tug of war. It should be pretty chill. You know what I mean? And so, maybe it was early to give it in the first place. If you have that sort of personality, if you know that you might want to take it back really quickly for something and go with that at that moment versus saying, oh, you know what? Something we didn't talk about up front when this happened. X, Y, Z, whatever it is. I don't know what he would have wanted to say.
I think it was for him. It seemed like it was symbolic. When they give people extra degrees, what do they call them? An honorary degree, where it doesn't actually mean something. It's symbolic. And so maybe it was like a symbolic gesture of trust, but it wasn't actually meant to be used.
When I get my honorary degrees, people are going to call me doctor. I'm going to be that guy. No, I'm just kidding. You ever notice those people will be like, oh, it's Dr. So-and-so. It's like, that was an honorary degree.
Oh, you didn't go to med school like the rest of everybody did this week?
On Instagram.
Right. Like all of Instagram did this week. They attended. It was an Instagram live med school.
Yeah. So I guess the summary on this one is kind of similar to the first one, but if you give something, give it all the way. And if there's conditions around how you want to give it, the boundaries related to it, what it really means on a practical basis, you should express those up front. And if you reach a point where you feel like that's not how things went down, you don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. You can use it as the time to say, you know what, maybe this didn't happen the first time. Boom. And I think it creates less turbulence.
Yeah, agreed. Are you ready for the next one?
Yeah, sure.
I think we've talked about this before, but somebody asked it again, so I think it's worth talking about again. This one is from Anne, and she asked, can long-distance relationships work?
Short answer, nah. But it also depends.
I think it depends on the people. I really do. I think for you and I don't think we're good at long distance relationships. I think we gave it the good college try and we realized that just doesn't work for us. But I think for some people, distance is part of their personality. Like some people are like, yeah, I don't need to see the person I'm with, but twice a month. And that's completely fine for them, but for me personally, I think it's hard to develop a life together when you're not together, like in the same space, because there's just so much you miss, like little things like being around a person's friends or just like seeing their daily habits. Like if you see somebody once a month, chances are they're going to be on their best behavior because nobody wants to ruin that time because that time is so rare. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So if I see you once for the month, like I might completely change up my space because I know you're coming over, or I might completely clear my schedule. So you're actually really getting an unrealistic portrayal of who I am and what my life is like. It's like going on vacation, right? Like that's not your life every day, but it's so short that you're savoring it and you're doing it to the fullest. But if somebody saw your life just every day, it would be drastically different than it was when you were on vacation. But being in a long distance relationship, I think is sort of like going on vacation. Like it's always fun. Everybody wants to make sure it's a good time, but it's hard to really make it your real life.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I don't know, many people who are sort of naturally acclimated to a long distance relationship, but I'm willing to concede that there has to be folks, and hopefully it's both of them that are in that mind frame and not just one,
right? Because
that would obviously not work. But I don't know. I think from my perspective, And, everyone's not like me. I mean, I just was reading an article about people who've been quarantined together in China. And like now that things are getting back to normal, people are just getting divorced. Like straight up, like municipalities are reaching their maximum divorces that they will allow to be processed in one day because everyone's coming out of quarantine. Like, oh my God, is this really what they're like after spending a month together?
Do you think that means they really didn't know each other to begin with? Like, why do you think that would happen after spending an intense amount of time together? I don't know you or I don't like you.
I think all of this could have been exacerbated by the conditions. So I'll take that with a grain of salt. But I don't know. It's hard for me to imagine that type of mindset because we actually literally had the opposite reaction from the same type of behavior from the very beginning in terms of like being kind of embedded and that being good.
Right.
But I think to your point, when people have that rhythm of a limited amount of contact, kind of like the tops of the waves, they don't see all of the nitty gritty of it all. They can kind of be at peace with that. And sort of, like you said, feels like you're just kind of on vacation.
Right.
It's like, you know what? I go to work early in the morning. I like my coffee a certain way. I like to stop and get my scone or whatever you do. And then I have a break with somebody that's my friend. We talk smack. Then I go to lunch at this place or that place. And like I have my routine. And after work, I go to Pilates. I don't know, whatever people do. And then they get home and they're like, oh, hey, how was your day? Good. Boom, 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 eat and go sleep.
So it's basically like a roommate situation. It sounds like.
I mean, but also like you get companionship for a period of time that's needed and for humans in general. And then you don't get all of that downtime. Like think about it like this. If you just see somebody from 6 p.m. Or 7 or 8 p.m. till bed, you could actually probably make it a long period of time and never be around that person when they fart.
Sad.
But guess what? I know, seriously. You could go like a year just during those time periods and like maybe they only fart in their sleep. Maybe they only fart like in the like
I don't know you till you fart in front of me.
Right, but I'm just saying when you're just hitting those tops of the waves, you don't see any of those things.
That's kind of sad to me though to think about the fact that in a lot of relationships, people see each other less than they see their coworkers.
Yeah.
And if you think about just the way, most schedules are set up, you're right. If you go to work at, let's say 8 o'clock, you might wake up with them in the morning. You go to work at 8 o'clock, probably have breakfast at work or on the way to work. And then you see them then at 7 p.m. You might have had dinner before you even got home, just depending on what you do, how busy your schedule is. And then you see them for a couple hours and then you go to bed.
You might watch a show
together. Might watch a Netflix show and you're not really talking.
Might watch a show together. You do your bathing and evening routine. And then you have that little bit of time before sleep. And however you choose to use that is, whatever. But that's also part of the tops of the waves. And then do it all again.
See, that really scares me because I know that a lot of marriages function in that way. And I'm like, that's scary. Like that to me sounds like a roommate. Like, I come and go. She comes and goes. And then that's that. Like we might hang out at brunch on the weekend, but it's a little sad. Like I don't ever want that where you're just like passing ships in the night.
But I mean, so long distance is literally like the marathon version of that.
Right.
So if that's what people's most days are for most people, then people who are doing long distance are just an extreme version of the same thing.
I think if you do long distance, like if you do choose to go that route, I think you have to be very planful about it in terms of making sure that person is a part of your everyday life. So if you're out at drinks with your friends and, your significant other lives across the country, like FaceTime them at drinks with your friends so that they're meeting all of your friends. And I don't know, maybe leave the phone propped up so they're also there for a little bit, which sounds weird. But
be like, hey, my girlfriend's here live via satellite.
I mean, with Corona, that's how it is now. We gotta. But I do think you just have to make sure that person is incorporated into your everyday life and not just the vacation moments when you're around each other. Is, I think, the key if you are going to do it.
Yeah. You just really got to just dig deep and see, is it for you? And then once you've decided, is it for you, you have to make sure that the other person isn't just saying it's for them because you said it's for you, that they really actually do the same kind of assessment. Because if there's not a match on that, it's just going to make it a long, drawn-out spiral. And
I also think there has to be a long-term plan, right? So I could never, ever be in a long-distance relationship where it's just inevitably long distance. Like, we don't have, okay, so in a year, I'm going to take this job or move here or do this or do that. Like, I would need a date to work up to know that this isn't forever how it's going to be. Okay, so we have another Corona question.
Okay.
This is a good one. My ex reached out to see if I was okay with everything going on. We had a volatile relationship, and I was glad when it ended last year. We were together for over 5 years, but I'm curious about how he is and what's going on with him. Should I respond?
I mean, from a human perspective, just given that we're literally in uncharted territory, I think if someone reaches out to check in on you, you should check in on them too. But you got to say, hey, you know what? You really made a lot of effort to come to a conclusion that you said you were happy with to end a 5-year relationship. And did it say that the person was what?
It just said it was a volatile relationship, and that she was glad when it actually ended last year.
So an unstable relationship, which seems like it was their fault from the way she's phrasing it.
It just says volatile. It could have been on both sides.
In any case, she was happy that it was over.
Right.
And so if it depends on what is your intention. If your intention is that, oh, you're curious because you didn't get closure, getting the closure should have probably been part of your plan to end a 5-year relationship, giving it to. So if it's about closure, then probably seek that out right now and get it over and done with, because you'll never be able to move on without it. Clearly, if a year later you're like, well, now I'm curious and this and this and that. Well, and then also matters, were you curious about those things before he messaged you or only after he messaged you?
Right.
Because if you were thinking about it before he messaged you, then there's something else that needs to happen there. You either need to remind yourself of the reasons why you decided to end the relationship and you're happy you did after 5 years, or say, are those things that I actually don't care about as much as I thought I did? Or maybe it seemed volatile at the time because multiple things were happening in my life. But in hindsight, with those other things not moving around, it wouldn't feel so volatile. So it really just depends on the situation, but you should always check in and make sure people are alive if you love them at some point.
I mean, with social media now, though, we know when someone's alive. We don't actually need to text them to figure out if they're alive.
Fair point.
We know when someone's alive.
Although there's been a lot of memes going around, it looks like it's like a picture of like Future or like someone from the Migos, and it's like, this coronavirus is like deadly or crazy or something. It's like reminds me of like this and this with us.
Oh, I think I've seen that one.
You don't got to reply though. There's just like a whole bunch, and they always end with, but you don't got to reply though. So if you felt like his message was one of those, then keep it moving.
I think here's what happens in times like this, times where there's tragedy or just fear and unknown, right? I think people reach out, and because of the time that we're in, that's why we feel the need to reach back when we know we shouldn't.
Right.
So my question to her would be, if Corona weren't happening right now, if we weren't going through a pandemic and this was just a regular, Wednesday, and he texted you, would you look down at your phone and be like, I can't believe he has the nerve? Or would you think, Yeah, I wonder what's going on with him. That's the real question that you should ask yourself is, am I feeling this way based on the emotion of what's happening around me and in the world right now? Or is this how I really feel about him? But don't let everything happening in the world dictate how you handle situations that may not contribute to your overall well-being. Don't use this as an excuse like, well, if the world were to end tomorrow and we would all be dead, I would want to know how he is, so I should reach back. Like, no. If you're resolved with the way the relationship ended and that it did need to end, then you've gotten the closure that you need already. It sounds like when it ended, you were relieved. Well, that's what you said. Like, you were relieved that it ended. So clearly there was something not good about the relationship in your life, or that was not right for you. So it sounds like it was time to end it. So then why are you second guessing that just because Corona's happening?
Well, it also depends on if you can reach out and separate that from allowing yourself to fall back into something that might not be right for you, or if you've reconsidered how you felt. Like, it really just depends on how you feel or how much you can separate just being in contact without being in contact.
You know how I know she shouldn't text him back?
Because she asked.
If it were really just this is, we're cool now. The relationship ended. I'm glad it's over. But you wouldn't even think twice. You would just be like, oh, I'm alive. This is crazy, right? How you doing? And it wouldn't even be a question. But if the fact that you're thinking about it and asking if you should lets me know you really shouldn't. You should not text him back because you're not ready, and don't let Corona be the thing that pushes you if you're not ready.
True.
Yeah.
But if you really think we all going to die and you just want to keep your body count low in case we don't, do what you got to do, sis. I'm saying that's a real thing. There's people out there who are like, well, we might die, but if we don't, I don't want to have nobody else on my body count right now that I could trust. People aren't thinking that?
People are thinking that.
Okay. I'm just trying to keep it all the way real. So.
But you know what this brings me to, and it makes me think about how important it is to have closure right when a relationship ends. As soon as you can, anyway. Right? I think you end up in situations like this when there's still lingering question and lingering doubt.
If she's in that situation, but yes.
But yeah,
she might not.
I think this is a symptom of that. I mean, I don't know her exact situation, but I feel like this is a symptom of that. I think when a relationship ends, that's your time to get closure, and that's your time to ask all the questions and not leave any stone unturned. Like, if somebody breaks up with you and you don't know why, or you don't know what happened, or you're unclear of how you got to that point, you should ask. Be like, why are you breaking up with me? Okay, like, what happened? Where did this go wrong for you?
But a good point you made is as soon as you can, because sometimes right when things end, one, the other, or both parties aren't actually ready for it to be a real conversation. Right. But yeah, no, good point.
Yeah, but as soon as you can, like, get that closure, because it will come back up. It always does. Something will happen, i.e. coronavirus, or anything will happen, and you will just immediately be like, oh my God. And it'll bring you back to that state, and it'll be like you never got over it.
Yeah. Don't relive things that weren't good for you.
Have you ever asked an ex, like, the hard questions about why you broke up, like, after the fact?
No, I kind of always knew why things were going in a certain direction. I don't think, there hasn't been confusion on why things were happening.
I think I have actually had that experience where I didn't get the closure right away, but I got it like the next week.
Oh, that's right away. You know?
I wanted it like in the moment, but I was like, no, let me wait. Let me hit him up next week. I've told you this story, I think. Have I not told you this story?
Probably.
Oh, okay. Well, I used to date this guy, for those of you who don't know this story. I used to date this guy, and I was out of town for work. And when I was out of town, a couple that was friends of ours broke up. And I said to him, that's so crazy that they broke up, right? Don't do that to me, LOL. Literally wrote LOL because it was funny. And then when I got back home, he broke up with me. Right? And I was like, well, you could have like said something. But long story short, I was really upset about it. And I was upset not because I don't think I was upset that the relationship was ending. I think I was just upset because I was like, that was so out of the blue. Like, what happened? Like, I'm so confused. And then the next week, I met up with him at a restaurant and had him buy me one last meal. And then
Last Supper.
And then got like full closure on it. And then after that, I was like, okay, well, I get it. And we don't really ever need to have this conversation again. Like, it's closed.
Done and dusted.
Done and dusted. Yeah. So that was the last listener question. I was going to do a listener questions episode with my friend Joelle in New York this week, but unfortunately, Corona's real, so that didn't happen. So I'm still here in Puerto Rico. But I do want to ask his question because I want to ask a man's opinion on this. So he lives in New York. He was on the train. The train is super crowded in the mornings, pre-corona mornings. The train's super crowded. A lady gets up, and then there's one open seat. He then sits in the seat. A woman that I guess wanted the seat saw him and like rolled her eyes and gave him like a, oh no, you didn't take this seat from a woman look. And when he asked me about it, my question to him was, well, how old is she? And he was like, she was like my age. She was like in her 30s. And then I was like, did she have like a child with her? And he was like, no, it was just her. And I was like, well, then the seat was yours. Do you think that in today, a man should give up the seat in a space like the train for a woman?
Here's what I'll say. If you see them going for it and you have to like scoot faster than them to get to it, you should probably give them the seat. If you sit down and then look up and then it's clear that they were like just missed it, but you just didn't notice, then you at least ask. But I guess that also is usually predicated on the circumstances. Like it's usually like an older person, but if it was an older man that happened to be the nth person like right next to me,
I would get up.
I'd be like, oh, did you? I'm sorry, I didn't even see.
Yeah, I base it on mobility and if you have a child or a lot of bags with you or something, you know. But like, I don't necessarily think in a situation like the train, like we're both young, able-bodied. Both of us could stand.
Right.
So but he was wondering as a man, he was like, was I wrong for like not giving her that seat? I don't think it was a situation where he saw her looking at it and then he was like, I'm going to bolt. I don't think it was that situation. I think he really was just like, oh, empty seat. Let me get it. And she was pissed. Like, how dare you? And then how dare you not offer me the seat after?
He didn't do nothing wrong.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. Let me tell you the one time in New York, though, that I thought it was completely wrong. I'm standing up. This dude is sitting down, and he's trying to talk to me, like in a romantic way. And I just was floored, like, sir, what is wrong with this picture? How are you sitting down comfortably? I'm standing up, and you have the nerve to, like, want to ask for my number? What? How does that even make sense? I don't even understand this.
Well, you're able-bodied. You're fit.
But to me, like, if you're coming at me in a romantic way, like, don't, this isn't the picture I want to see. Like, this is how a relationship looks. Like, you're going to be sitting down comfortably and cushy, and I got to be uncomfortable the entire
That's what your family wants to see. Make that man's plate.
No, they do not.
I'm just kidding.
I think I talked about that.
No, I did see something on the internet the other day where it was saying how unfair certain things are towards women, and that like if as a couple you're visiting the woman's, you know, if you're in a man-woman relationship, you're visiting a woman's family, it's like the guy's like the guest of honor and like They treat him like he doesn't have to do anything, blah, blah, blah. Like, but then when the woman goes over to the man's family's house, it's like, oh, like she's also supposed to like help cook, help clean up. And it was like, damn, actually, can't she be the guest of honor? But the thing is, though, that actually leads more towards equal. So under equal, then you take that seat. Under equal, if he was already sitting and you got on the train, he should be able to try to holler.
Do you think that...
Because equal is equal.
Do you think that we are truly equal now?
No, that would be like saying racism doesn't exist.
Right.
But if I treat you like an equal and we treat each other like equals, then it doesn't matter what happens outside of us, but from between us. Like if you guys actually treat each other like equals, then it shouldn't matter. Like you don't have to make up for all of society all the time. You can as a gesture and to be nice, and because that's what you're choosing to do.
What does equal mean to you in a relationship? When people say that, like, what does that mean?
You see how our relationship works?
Yeah.
Equal. I don't know. I can't really put words on that. Like, I don't know. I mean, you might ask me to open a jar here and there, but that's just because my hands are bigger than yours.
No, it's to make you feel good.
You have pretty big hands.
It's to make you feel good.
Please stop.
No. But when I ask you to do stuff, does it make you feel more like needed or like more like a man?
No. I'm pretty comfortable.
Okay.
Well, what are you asking me to do? Is that something we can talk about on here? Because that might make me feel like a man.
Here, open this jar.
Nah.
Oh, man. So we're going to play the Actually Curious game. We've played this before.
Shout out Mike Tennant.
Shout out to Mike Tennant, who made this amazing deck of cards. Now that we're in quarantine, maybe we can actually go through this whole deck. Not on air, but...
Everyone should go out and buy Actually Curious the game.
I'll put the link on the site. Do you want to ask me first, or should I ask you?
I'll ask you first.
Okay.
If someone gives you $100 and tells you to treat yourself, what do you do?
I go to Marshall's and buy candles and usually a dress for under $20. And if I have anything left over, then like I guess I would get something to eat. For whatever reason, like Marshall's is like my place to just get every single thing. How about you?
Probably get some Popeyes off the rip. Just straight to Popeyes.
Ew.
Yeah, I don't know. It just really depends. I might order a Zeal massage, depending on where I'm at. But I don't think they have Zeal here.
Mm-mm.
Come right to your house and do massages. Yeah, probably get a massage.
I think you'd actually order Popeyes.
Well, I'm not going to order $100 of Popeyes. I'd get Popeyes on the way to the massage, eat the chicken, be almost at bliss, and then get all my tensions rubbed out.
You want me to tell you what I think you would do?
Okay, go ahead.
I think you would order the Popeyes, and then I think you would like order a new game of 2K or whatever.
I kind of have a backlog of games right now, but maybe.
Yeah, I just don't see you like, oh, let me just go get a massage now. I don't really see it. Sorry. I'm not saying...
Who put you onto the massages at the house?
You did.
Okay.
Did you do Zeal before we were together?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you just treat all the chicks to Zeal massages.
That's not what I said.
Oof. Now it's not even special anymore.
I had not given them to anyone.
You hadn't given a massage? Or
No, not till after we were together. But then I gave one to Crystal for her birthday.
Are you talking physically give a massage or like a zeal massage?
A Zeal massage.
Oh, okay.
I've obviously given a massage before.
Okay. I didn't know. I thought maybe I was special. I don't know.
I'm 41 years old.
Well, I thought you were waiting for me, Chris. You pick one, but I'll ask you. No, I'm going to ask you. If you could redo one moment in your life, it would be...
I'm trying to think. This is a tough one. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I would really change anything.
Okay, for me, it wouldn't be a moment that I would necessarily redo, but my mother for sure would. So my mom's biggest regret in life is that she didn't like push me in gymnastics and didn't really get me started on the gymnastics course because she is convinced that I'd be Gabby Douglas or Dominique Dawes back in the day. She's like, you were just so good. You were just so good at it. And so I guess maybe I would have pushed myself in gymnastics and seen what could have happened.
Okay.
Maybe. Again, that's my mom's moment. It's not really mine. I just took hers. Do you have one now that you want to share?
No, I mean, I really don't think that I would have changed anything. Oh, you know what it is?
What?
I wouldn't have thrown out my retainer so many times in middle school, and then my teeth would be straight.
I like your crooked teeth.
Yeah. Okay. It's like my signature now.
Yeah, it is. You can't change it now. Okay, you can ask me that one.
Nothing says I love you like
feeding me. No, you know what? Actually, can I tell you what that one actually is? Nothing says I love you like planning a special day that's catered just for that person. You know what I mean? So I think that men have this idea that romance is sort of this typical idea of a movie romance where it's like, we go out to a nice dinner and then we look up at the stars and stupid stuff. But I think a real romantic gesture is planning out something that's really tailored for that person. Like, even if it's like super silly or whatever, I just think that's what says I love you. It's just something that is really tailored for that person and like the relationship that you have with them.
So don't get you a bowling ball for your birthday.
Oh, shut it.
Remember how they used to do that on TV all the time?
What, the bowling ball thing?
Yeah, like the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. That was like a frequent sitcom thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No Xboxes unless they really play.
Well, you did give me a bike for my last birthday, which was really great.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty
so now
cool.
I'm that girl around Puerto Rico that just rolls around in my bike like it's like a mint green color, so people, they know me when they see me in these streets. And I got a matching helmet.
Nice.
Okay, you have to answer it.
Nothing says I love you like trusting and believing in me. That's it. That's all I ever really require to feel love. Trusting and believing.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
A little affirmation here and there, but that's not necessarily love. That's more just like normal, everyday survival, human connection.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's a good one. You just made my whole thing sound like crap when I'm like, and you do this romantic thing, and you're like, I just need to love and trust. Trust and believe.
Trust and believe.
Okay. Noted. Thank you for coming on tonight, babe.
Anytime.
Where can people reach you?
On Instagram. Actually, my Instagram is private now, but you can hit me at CCINO360.
And you can reach me at Tanisha Wood on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And until next time, wish me love.
Hello again, my lovely listeners. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of DRL. If you like the show, be sure to go on iTunes and leave a rating and also write a review. And don't forget to share with your friends and tell them all about DRL. Thank you so much for supporting.